Good evening and welcome to Ville News. I'm your host, Georgia Hall, along with Ruby Mundok, here to give you the latest campus, local, and national headlines. Stay tuned because Ville News starts now.
Lancaster County with the return of Free Music Friday. Lancaster City officials and the local nonprofit group Music for Everyone have announced that the beloved community event will return to the third Friday of every month following a shutdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Organizers say these are set to be the biggest Music Fridays to date and is scheduled to begin on May 20th and run through the summer until September. Residents can expect to see performers and new concerts every month in Binns Park and various other neighborhoods' parks. The City of Lancaster Special Events and Program Manager said, quote, "Music Fridays bring a wonderful energy to Lancaster City. We are looking forward to bringing performances downtown and to the neighborhoods," end quote. City residents are overjoyed with the reintroduction of one of the city's most popular and beloved traditions and the sense of community that it brings. All Music Friday concerts are free and open to the general public.
A Lancaster County man has been arrested for putting a Joe Biden sticker on a gas pump. The sticker depicts President Joe Biden pointing at the price of gas with the words, "I did that," written underneath. The sticker phenomenon started in 2021, but has escalated in recent months due to the sharp increase in gas prices due to the war in Ukraine, averaging around $4.13 per gallon. But unlike in most situations, the Lancaster County man was arrested after employees at the Turkey Hill convenience store witnessed him placing a sticker on their pumps on March 31st. An employee confronted 54-year-old Thomas Glazowski, but things escalated and the police were called to the scene. Glazowski admitted to vandalizing the gas pumps, but attempted to flee the scene before being tackled by an officer. According to the East Hempfield Township Police, Glazowski was taken to the hospital for self-inflicted injuries that he sustained while in the backseat of a police vehicle. Glazowski was charged with resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, harassment, and criminal mischief. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for April 26. The City of Philadelphia has announced its plan to restore indoor mask mandates as cases rise in the area. The move will set up Philadelphia up to be the first major U.S. city to reinstate the mandate after reporting a sharp increase in coronavirus infections. Most states and cities in the country dropped their mask mandates in February and early March in accordance with the updated CDC guidelines. Philadelphia's city health officials state that they hope to prevent the new wave driven by the highly transmissible Omicron subvariant BA2, as confirmed COVID-19 cases have risen by more than 50% in the last 10 days. The change will take effect in city businesses on April 18th. Small businesses and restaurants have pushed back against the reimposed mandate, stating that workers and owners will take an unneeded hit after more than 2 years of struggles. The Children's Hospital of Philadelphia has spoken out to say that despite the fact that there is an increase in transmission in the United States, hospital admissions have remained low, and their team advises against requiring masks. But Health Commissioner Dr. Cheryl Bedigal fought back saying, quote, "I sincerely wish we didn't have to do this again, but I am very worried about our vulnerable neighbors and loved ones," end quote. It's still unclear how long this new mandate will last or whether it will be as strictly enforced as it has been in the past 2 years.
The Republican primary for the U.S. Senate in Pennsylvania is heating up, with Mehmet Oz being endorsed by former President Donald Trump for Pennsylvania's Senate seat that is opening this year, with the retirement of current Senator Pat Toomey. Oz's campaign plans to capitalize on this endorsement by running a $1 million ad campaign aimed at Pennsylvania Republicans. According to a recent poll by Emerson University, about 60% of primary voters would be more likely to support a candidate endorsed by Trump. NBC News reports that Oz's rival, Dave McCormick, flew to Trump's Florida resort to try to stave off the endorsement of Oz. but ultimately was still blindsided by this endorsement. This move by the former president comes just weeks before the Pennsylvania primary on May 17th and even closer to the deadline to vote on May 2nd. We'll now go to Becca Patches with an inside look at what's happening in the world of entertainment.
I'm Becca Patches from Hollywood Headlines, and we have an exciting episode planned for this week. The Grammys took place on April 23rd, and we will be diving into the winners, including how Olivia Rodrigo took home her first 3 Grammys and how the winner of the Album of the Year came as a surprise. We will also talk about how Kanye West's surprise performance at the ceremony was canceled due to his recent inappropriate online behavior. Then in TV show news, Pete Davidson's recent SNL sketch about not wanting to watch long movies inspired Netflix's newest category, because sometimes you just don't feel like watching a 2-hour movie. And in celebrity news, we will discuss how Will Smith and Ezra Miller are facing career backlash after public outbursts. Multiple projects involving Smith are currently on hold, and DC Studios is contemplating what to do about Miller's role on the popular show The Flash. Be sure to tune in because you won't want to miss it.
Welcome back to Ville News. New York Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin has resigned after being arrested for campaign finance fraud. Benjamin's arrest comes after reports stating that the Manhattan federal prosecutors and the FBI were investigating whether he knowingly engaged in a campaign fraud scheme, along with looking into whether Benjamin helped distribute state money to contributors. The indictment alleges that a real estate developer gave the lieutenant governor campaign distributions in exchange for $50,000 for a $50,000 state grant for the developer's business, with the money being delivered. The personal checks were written out of the names of relatives in order to conceal any possible connections. The scheme was said to have run between the years of 2019 and 2021, with Benjamin covering his tracks by falsifying campaign donor forms, misleading municipal regulators, and providing false information in vetting forms. Benjamin denies any wrongdoing, but has been charged with bribery, honest services wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit the previous offenses. Governor Kathy Hochul states that Lieutenant Governor's resignation was effective immediately.
One of the most controversial women in America has finally spoken out about the crime that shocked a nation. Sherry Papina has spoken out and admitted to faking her 2016 kidnapping. The California mother of 2 was reported missing nearly 6 years ago and found 3 weeks later over 100 miles away on Interstate 5 with a chain around her waist. Her injuries included a brand on her shoulder that she blamed on her abductors, who she claimed were 2 Hispanic women. Federal prosecutors state that Papina was actually voluntarily staying with a former boyfriend at the time, who picked her up after Papina claimed she needed to get away. The ex-boyfriend went on to admit to branding her shoulder with a wood-burning tool. After being discovered after her disappearance, Papina requested $30,000 in victim assistance funds that were used to help pay for therapy visits and an ambulance. In 2020, authorities confronted Papina with evidence that the kidnapping was fake. In a plea agreement filed this past Tuesday, Papina agreed to plead guilty to 2 counts of mail fraud and lying to a law enforcement officer, which are charges that carry a maximum sentence of 20 years and 5 years. In a statement released by her lawyer, the 39-year-old said she was, quote, "very sorry for the pain I've caused my family, my friends, all the good people who needlessly suffered because of my story, and those who worked hard to try and help me," end quote.
Hundreds of New York City police officers are conducting a citywide manhunt for the person suspected of shooting 10 people in a New York City subway shooting. The lone gunman wore a reflective vest and a gas mask as he threw smoke bombs into a subway car in Brooklyn before opening fire with a handgun and striking several people on the train and platform at the 36th Street station in Sunset Park. Witnesses described the scene as a chaotic, bloody scene, with videos of the horrific event going viral across social media. At least 29 people were injured, with 5 in critical but stable conditions. None of the injuries are considered life-threatening. It's still unclear whether the gunman fled out of the station or into the subway tunnel. The suspect was described as a male, 5'5", and 172 to 180 pounds. No arrests have been made, but the detectives have stated that they are making significant progress and believe that they have a solid idea of whom they are searching for. Police went on to note that a U-Haul van with Arizona plates found parked on Kings Highway could be connected to the investigation, but that remains unconfirmed. New York City Mayor Eric Adams released a video statement to his various social media accounts telling the public, quote, "We're praying for all New Yorkers who were injured or affected by today's attack. So far, we only have a multiple number of injuries, including victims of gunshot wounds. We will not allow New Yorkers to be terrorized even by a single individual," end quote. President Joe Biden also spoke out about the crime, saying that he was praying for the victims of the tragedy. A heavy police presence remains in the area, and there are currently no suspected motives. Now to Ryan Argenti with the full forecast.
Yeah, Georgia, as I was saying, we were having a pretty mild day today, and even tomorrow, and I'll show you here on the 3-day outlooks. 3-day outlooks telling us right now 82 degrees was our high for today, 62 for our low. Thursday, we're looking at 80 degrees and 44 degrees for Thursday night's lows. We do have some afternoon thunder showers coming through, and Friday is setting up to be pretty nice. And as we head into the 7-day outlook this weekend, it's not going to be too bad, except maybe an afternoon shower on Saturday. 72 degrees for our high, 42 for Saturday night's lows. Sunday, 54 for a high, 32 for a low, and then we're looking at a pretty decent week next week, Monday and Tuesday. Back to you at the desk.
That's all we have this week for Ville News. Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for the newest local, state, and national headlines.